If you have a father who cares about you, what more do you need? Grumbled Gintoki Sakata to a one-armed man who is feeling sorry for himself. In Hideaki Sorachi's 2003 comedic manga Gintama Silver Soul, historical Edo has been invaded by the alien Amanto creatures. Humans are tormented regularly, including a young girl who is saved by a fearless samurai with a wooden sword named Gintoki Tomokazu Sugita. Jin has a sweet tooth and is frequently seen eating strawberry parfaits between sword fights. The rescued girl's brother, a spectacled Shinpachi Sakaguchi, befriends Jin, and the two later meet a powerful alien girl with a shotgun umbrella named Kagura. Kagura is modeled after Chun-li from Street Fighter. The trio become the Yorozuya odd jobs, part Sam Spade, part Ace Ventura. This is not the first time Jin has been a member of an imposing trio of fighters. In his youth, he was teamed with swordsman Shinsuke Takasugi, 59, and Kotaro Katsura, and the three acted as blood brothers. All three fighters were mentored by the mysterious alien sensei Shoyo Yoshida, Yamadera. Shoyo's apparent death and rebirth drives much of the very final 2021 feature. Odd Job Jin has a second chance to bring resolution to a brutal incident that traumatized him when he was young. Amid the numerous gags, the characters reveal the value of friendship and surviving trauma from the past. For most of the series' 10 seasons, the odd jobs are wrapped up in outrageous situations filled with toilet jokes periodically involving the series' mascots, Elizabeth and Sadaharu. Elizabeth is a wide-eyed mute duck cosplay who communicates through square signs. Sadaharu is a Clydesdale-sized puppy who is inclined to chomp on human heads. In the show's pilot, Sadaharu joins the odd jobs to catch a black cat that has run away. They fail at this task, but agree to help another client, Katoken, who was abruptly fired from his job for no reason. In the process, Katoken loses his family and his house to the devious alien, Kariya. The odd jobs try to help him get back on his 2 feet. They are assisted by the Shinsengumi swordsmen, led by Gorilla Kondo and Bazooka Okita. Viewers get immersed in the dozens of interesting characters over the 367 episodes of the Sunrise series. Episode 42 might be the best starting point for newcomers to the show. Mangaka Sorachi prefers to hide behind his mountain gorilla avatar.
"We can't fight guns with kung fu," exclaims a wounded Master Yim in Sui Hark's Once Upon a Time in China. The one man who is able to outwit guns with his fists is Wang Fei-hung. In real life, Wang was an acclaimed acupuncturist who was skilled in kung fu and lived in the modern-day Guangdong province in the 1860s. After the collapse of the Qing dynasty in 1912, the Republic of China emerged, and by then Wang was with his 4th wife. His first 3 wives died of illnesses and he had 6 children. Men in China marked this new era in China by removing their Manchu pigtail queues. Under the Qing dynasty, failure to keep a queue was treasonous and could result in death. Wang died at 77 and was buried in an unmarked grave near the Baiyun Mountain. Hong Kong actor Quan Tak Hing portrayed Wang in over 70 films starting in the 1940s. Jackie Chan and Gordon Liu have also depicted Wang. Modern audiences identified Jet Li as the essential Wong. Hark's Wong goes toe-to-toe with a series of rivals, Shin Shang of the Shao Gang, Iron Robe Yim, Shi Quan Yen, and the final boss, American slave trader Colonel Jackson, John Isger. All the fights are staged with a ballet-style choreography. Yi Su Quan, Auntie 13, is the damsel in distress who learns kung fu in the film's sequel. The men training with Wong kick and punch in unison on the beach to the tune of "On the General's Orders," which encourages our patriots to have courage like iron and bones like steel.
100,000 music lovers squeezed into Max Yasker's dairy farm in the summer of 1969 at Woodstock, billed as an aquarium exposition. 32 bands, including Hendrix, The Grateful Dead, and Crosby, Stills jammed in the rain and the mud. Musicians had to be airlifted by Stewart IFB personnel due to the traffic jams along Route 17B, which stretched 17 miles. Hundreds of local sheriffs and state troopers kept the peace. Tickets to Woodstock were $7. For a single-day Coachella one-day tickets are $500 and 186,000 tickets were sold. Before the promoters Michael Lang and Artie Cornfield changed show admission to free because they were unable to install concert fences and ticket booths. Creedence was the first band to sign, followed by others including Jefferson Airplane, The Who, Santana, Sly and the Family, Joplin, Joan Baez, Arlo Guthrie, The Band, Joe Cocker, and Sweetwater. Hendrix's show was postponed to Monday at 8:30 a.m. where he performed for 2 hours. He played his version of the national anthem to a smaller audience of 30K. There were no curfew times for shows, so Baez started her set at 1 a.m. and Townshend and Daltrey played at 5 a.m. Wade Lawrence of the Bethel Center stated that the Jerry Garcia and the Dead had ingested a lot of LSD and were not themselves on stage. The show was so bad that they declined to appear on the Woodstock soundtrack album. During St. Stephen, there was a power outage that ruined the PA system for the rest of the show. They did their best to perform Dark Star and other numbers. In the drug-induced chaos, there were 2 deaths at the festival, including a heroin overdose and a guest trampled by a tractor. It was around 1969 that the Beatles were breaking up and unable to attend the Rosamond and Roberts-financed Woodstock. Joni Mitchell chose a Dick Cavett appearance over Woodstock. Notable musicians who turned down the exposition included The Doors, The Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, Frank Zappa, and Bob Dylan. I didn't want to be part of that thing. It was a lot of kids out and around wearing flowers in their hair, tacking a lot of acid. LSD was legitimized by fired Harvard professor Timothy Leary, who promoted the drug for therapy. Before Woodstock, Leary entered the CA governor's race against incumbent Ronald Reagan. John Lennon wrote Leary the campaign song Come Together. After his death, 7 grams of Leary's ashes were buried in space after being launched in a 96 Pegasus rocket. Acid-tripping concert-goers were provided with up to 30,000 sandwiches from the Monticello Jewish CC, distributed by the Sisters of
Tunnel Under Ocean Boulevard begins with the Grants, a tribute to Lana Del Rey's Lake Placid family name. In the March issue of Interview Mag, she is wearing a loose-fitting doily-patterned wedding gown with an unlit cigarette dangling from the side of her lips. The conversation with Billie Eilish begins with Lana. "How's it going, sweet girl?" Lana: "Dude, thank you for thinking of me. I am absolutely stoked out of my effing mind." Born Elizabeth Grant and raised in Lake Placid, and why Lana was given a Catholic education and was a troubled youth addicted to alcohol. Her parents helped her overcome her depression. He graduated from Fordham in the Bronx with a philosophy degree and was doing shows in New York. He adopted her stage name from actress Lana Turner and the Ford Motors Del Rey sedan. 2011's YouTube video games led to a deal with Interscope and Polydor. Lana was miffed by an icy reception among critics to Born to Die in 2012. At the time, she appeared on SNL, In the ride video, she rides on the back of a motorcycle in the desert, wearing a Budweiser tee, and later fires pistols into the night sky while wrapped in an American flag. Coming from a farming town, LA, was never a possibility. My brother and sister, and I always say, every time we drive through a perfectly symmetrical palm tree lane, we feel like we're on a set. Maybe it was my lens on how heightened everything felt, said Lana in her interview with Billy in March.
Ultimate Playlist. You voted for your favorite classical music, and now the other financial stuff that you need to do annually. For instance, taxes. There's also open enrollment, which tends to start in November. Brent says a lot of people just let last year's benefits roll over. Don't do that.
Take the time, sit down, look at any updates to your health insurance plans.
And make sure you're happy with your other insurance plans. Also, check on your retirement plan contributions and make sure your beneficiaries are up to date. You can also use this moment to see if there are any benefits you're missing at work, like a gym reimbursement or an employer 401k match. And check out your subscriptions. Make sure you're not paying for things you don't use. Also, look at your credit
Please go today. Reliefactor.com. Relieffactor.com.
I would rely on this offensive line. If I'm Missouri, I would come out and try to run some wide zone, forces Iowa defense to run sideline to sideline, and allow your talented running backs to read it out one gap at a time to see if you can pick up some yards and find yourself in third and short situations.
Sun is starting to fade here at Nissan Stadium in Nashville. Missouri at its own 25, balls in the middle. Brady Cook out of the pistol with Nate Noel as his back. This tight end Jordan Harris in motion. Pass is intended for Marquise Johnson on a quick swing pass. He drops it. So Cook's struggles continue.
See, for me, it's not Brady Cook's struggle right there. It's Johnson's struggle.
That's a fair point.
You know, that's how you're going to get back into this game if you're Missouri. It's going to take Brady Cook using his legs at times, but other guys catch the ball.
It's going to look bad for Brady Cook, but that's not his fault. That's a fair point. Second down and 10 from the 25-yard line from Missouri Tigers. They're going to send a man in motion. It's Manning, the wide receiver. Hand off to Nate Noel, and his box pass absolutely swallowed up. Max Llewellyn brings him down. They're going to give him... No, they're not. They may give him a foot, but I don't even think that's going to happen. Third down and 10 coming up for Missouri.
This is an exceptional job by Llewellyn because it is RPO action, and he's able to stay at home and make a nice tackle to bring up third and long.
The Iowa fans in front of us, they're on the near sideline, come alive. Trying to force and help the defense create another 3 and out. Over 2 is Missouri on third down and long today. Cook has it going, 2 receivers each side. Ball's in his own 25. Drops back, good pocket, throws, fires, near side. Hauled in by Daniel Blutter up near the 40-yard line across the 40 to the 42. Zach Lumber knocks him out of bounds. What a throw by Brady Cook. Moves to 6, much needed first down to the gain of 17 for Missouri.
Yeah, really good job pre-snap, going in motion, recognizing that Iowa...
Time 8/8. Before Sunrise, 1995, by Richard Linklater. On a train headed for Paris, Celine is trying to read Battle's Story of the Eye. No one is looking at their phone, but everyone is staring at a book or a newspaper. Suddenly, a German couple starts arguing, and the wife slaps the husband. Celine, Julie Delpy, leaves her seat and moves to the back where Jesse James Wallace, Ethan Hawke, is reading Kinski's All I Need Is Love. He's wearing a wine-colored turtleneck with high-top chucks and a goatee. They click instantly and share a meal in the lounge car as the European countryside passes by through the window. As couples get older, they lose their ability to hear each other. Celine observes about the feuding husband and wife. Jesse pitches his idea of a National Geographic show about people in the cities. Before getting off at his Vienna stop, Jesse convinces Celine to join him for a few hours in the city browsing through record shops, cemeteries, and other places. Richard Linklater based Before Sunrise on his brief encounter with Amy Leropt in 1989. He was 29 years old and visiting his sister in Philadelphia when he met Leropt in a toy shop. They spent time together from midnight until 6 a.m. and exchanged phone numbers before saying goodbye. A long-distance relationship failed to last after he met another woman. Leropt died in a motorcycle accident in 1994 at the age of 24. The third chapter of the trilogy, Before Midnight, was released in the summer of 2013. Now Jesse has moved to Paris, and his life with Celine is not ideal. They argue a lot, like the German couple that brought them together 2 decades ago. He wants to move to Chicago to be closer to his son from another marriage. She wants to stay in France and focus on her career. Hawke married Uma Thurman in '96, and the couple had 2 children, Meyer and Levon, and separated 7 years later. Follow Me Boys, 1966, by Norman Tokar. Adapted from the novel God in My Country by Iowan Pulitzer Prize winner McKinley Cantor. Andersonville, Follow Me Boys introduced newcomer Kurt Russell to Disney audiences. Russell played the slingshot shooting Whitey, son of the town drunk, who assaults the town Boy Scouts as they march past his house. The leader of the Scouts is Lem Siddons. Fred McMurray, who was a traveling saxophonist who stopped in Hickory and stepped on Vita Downey's Vera Miles' foot while reaching for a baseball. It is love at first sight, and he decides to stay in the hick town where he works at John Hughes Mercantile selling candy and dress materials. Lem attends a Methodist church and quickly makes friends. At the next town hall meeting, he volunteers to be scoutmaster to keep the boys out of the pool halls. Scenes were shot on location in Santa Clarita, Newhall, Golden Oak, and Chatsworth, Iverson Ranch. Walt Disney received the Silver Buffalo Award from the Boy Scouts in the 1940s. Disney died 2 weeks after this film's release in '66. Earlier that year, he served as Grand Marshal in the Rose Parade in Pasadena. This was the year movie studios shifted completely to producing color films and stopped making black and white pictures. By '66, Mac had appeared in nearly 100 films. His first collab with Walt was Shaggy Dog 59, and the next year joined the My Three Sons show on ABC as the engineer father. He retired in '78 after getting throat cancer and was named the first Disney legend in '87. Sherman Bros, follow me boys, follow me. When you think you're really beat, that's the time to lift your feet. Pick 'em up, put 'em down, so the journey's end is beyond our sight. If we do our best then, we've done all right. Pack your load, hit the road and follow me.